Welcome to San Diego Market Movers. I'm your host, Valley, and I'm here with Lance Correia. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I'm really interested in this story about what was your most difficult transaction you've ever had as a realtor?
Well, I've come across several. I think the most challenging and one that really took some problem solving is there was a piece of land that I knew was for sale, and I had an agent, older lady from this was actually in Casa Grande, Arizona, back in my early part of my career, and she was representing an electrical union that needed about 10 acres. Mm-hmm. I knew this other broker who had exactly that listing, so I put him in touch because the way it worked over there was not everything was everybody. It was just kind of a different type of marketing.
Sure.
So we put the deal together, and I put myself in for my commission, and I didn't represent either the buyer or the seller, but I was in the deal. So it progressed, and then I called escrow to say, how's it looking? The buyer's agent had passed away in the middle of the transaction unexpectedly. So I had to help facilitate this transaction, not being a part of it. It was all sorts of disclosures and whatnot. And part of this was getting the zoning approved for the electrical union. So I had to work with the electrical union and their representatives and the city of Eloy, this was in Arizona, to get to the approval. And I had to go with them to the city meeting, which is kind of beyond the scope of what I ideally would like to do. So I had all sorts of disclosures, but to get the deal to the finish line, this is what took place. And Arizona and California are a little different when it comes to the rules and the commercial and whatnot. Got to the finish line, but it was definitely a transaction that I would not want to do again.
That's funny because it's always like one of those things where you're like, hey, I'm knee deep in this, and how did I get here? You're like in the county.
From being not a part of the transaction, just getting paid, to pretty much doing every step and then some.
I think that's a lot of times we find ourselves doing more than our job entails, and that's just boils down to integrity. You know.
Well, and I did make sure that the woman who passed away, I didn't. She still got her family. And like her family was super sweet, invited me to the services and whatnot. It was just really just kind of a unique transaction. So definitely a memorable one.
That's amazing. Well, I'm glad you did what you did. We need more, hearts like you in this industry. So I appreciate that. It's cool,
you asked me for a strange one. There you go.
That's amazing. Well, thanks so much for sharing your story, Lance.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.